Hello everybody, my name's LOD Wise.
Hi, my name's Jiminesis. Tonight we're reviewing the mid-season premiere of Season 2 of Fear the Walking Dead. It was all about Nick this episode and his backstory.
Okay, so this episode's going to have some spoilers. It starts out with where he's with part of the family that's left in that original compound, and she's going off to help find little boy's father, which later in the episode you'll find out actually kind of strikes a chord with him, because the way he lost his father and what he was actually going to be doing to his dad on the stand kind of thing. So later in the episode that actually will make a little more sense on how he actually reacted towards the boy and the lady to be able to help find that boy, his father.
Yeah, I think it really did strike a chord with him with that whole father thing, but then he leaves, and we see a sign there that says that he has 100 miles to Tijuana. I guess he thinks he might have some sanctuary in Tijuana. I don't know.
It'd be kind of creepy seeing half naked people run around being zombies. Yeah, I don't know. There is no sanctuary in this freaking world, anyways.
And so then we catch up with him. He has his little house there that he tries to go to. He sets up himself with a little fire and eating an apple and, taking a nap and everything. And then all of a sudden, this lady just comes in.
And knocks his ass out almost.
Yeah, just knocks him with a bat right in front of her kid. I guess I understand, you want to protect your family, and he looks a little sketchy. I mean, Nick, covered in zombie blood and everything else. He looks a little sketchy, but he lost all of his supplies and that and everything.
Now, I don't know. It's kind of a two-parter. You think that she's defending, but she could also be mugging him, because it's not in English subtitles. All it is Spanish. I guess if you understand Spanish, you'll be able to know exactly what she's yelling, but without being able to understand it, it kind of looks like she's actually kind of mugging him a little bit and doing the protection. I mean, it is of her house, or it could just be a house she kind of wandered up on. And I think it's a stupid-ass idea to be having a fire in the zombie apocalypse kind of scenario anyways. It'd be just kind of like the battlefield, where in World War II nobody was able to smoke in the front lines because you could see a cigarette, ember for miles. So it'd be kind of the same way with the fire. I think it would just be a bad idea. I still don't think it's a good idea to do that.
Yeah, but we also have to remember on Fear, they don't understand a whole lot about the walker zombie apocalypse thing yet. So maybe you just didn't understand. I mean, you would think he would, because even though he is kind of like had some issues in the past, he does seem like he's pretty street smart on this. So I don't know. Again, I don't think they know as much as what we know, because we've had Walking Dead to kind of teach us what we should and shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, I mean, they did say that in this reality that these people have never even heard of the idea of a zombie, so maybe, yeah, that's probably what it would be. But I mean, later, once he gets his ass knocked out with that freaking aluminum bat, he goes into the road, and of course he's finding this cars and stuff. He sees a lady in there, which I was expecting him to take out and use as more camouflage, but he doesn't. He finds some kind of radio thing. But I say by this point now that he's been cutting these people up, and Mexico, I'm getting, is pretty freaking hot in the desert and whatnot. That shit has to be baked into his skin. He's going to smell like that for a while. I don't think he would have to keep cutting people up to, keep that smell on him. After a while, it would just be inside of him. I don't think it would ever go away.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably really stinks by this point. He also, since he lost all his supplies with that first lady, we do see him in the same car with this lady. We see him reach in there and grab a water bottle, and there's just a little drink in there, but boy, he's like milking it for all it's worth, because he's pretty thirsty. Again, he's in Mexico, it's pretty hot. And then he reaches in there and finds that radio. I don't know what he thinks he's gonna find. I mean, on the radio at this point, it's pretty dead, for lack of better words, all over the place. But anyways, he tries to turn on the radio, I guess try to find a station or something, I don't know, maybe some info. He just kind of sets it on the ground, and all of a sudden these people, these three guys in a nice little Jeep come up, and he sees them. He kind of crouches down behind Probably a good idea he didn't run at that point, but these guys had guns, and, well, he had nothing. So, the guys, I think it really solidifies how the world has come to, or what the world has come to. They just take out there's this guy sitting in this other car that they see, and he's alive. He's not a walker. He's very much alive. He might be a little dehydrated. But they just stab him in the eye. They stab him in the eye with an arrow.
I still think it was a mercy killing. Sorry. The guy was dying. I mean, he's, almost pleading with him to kill him. Just let him go. I still think it was a mercy killing. But other than that, I mean, then the episode just kind of gets, a little more exciting when he starts running from those people, hiding into the, well, in my opinion, they wasted a lot of resources, a lot of ammo just shooting at him randomly. Luckily, bad guys can't hit worth shit or shoot at all. But they get into he's out there in that freaking desert and dying at that point. And he first tries to get some water from a cactus, which you can get water from cactuses. It's just not the best thing for you. That didn't work out. He tries to eat them, and the almost nearly passes out. He's puking everything back up, making itself even worse. Then he gets into that point where he's starting to drink his own piss, which is technically, I did look it up. You can actually drink your own pee and actually survive. But it's, still not good. It's only going to work for maybe a day or two, and then you're done. It's going to make you even sicker than what you actually were in the very beginning.
It's only drinking your pee, you can only do that if you're healthy. And by this point, we know he was addicted to drugs. We know he's done some pretty shady stuff in his life back in the U.S. So I'm pretty sure he's not so healthy. I'm pretty sure that pee isn't gonna do him well. But I mean, he does get a little bit of drink, I guess, from it. Then as he's going through the desert after the whole eating cactus and drinking pee, he wanders upon this random van in the middle of the desert. Like, who, seriously? I mean, there's no roads anywhere, no nothing. Seriously, van parked out in the middle of the desert. No river, no nothing, just parked out in the middle of the desert. He kind of goes up against it and is like, taking a little siesta, I guess. And then all of a sudden, dogs start barking and they bite his leg. He has to crawl on top of the van. Probably a good idea the van was there since he had to crawl on top of it to get away from the dogs. But still, I don't understand why the van was out in the middle of the desert.
I still think, at that point, I think, though, that the dogs alerted the Walker party that was coming in. And, of course, the dogs, they try to fight, and they ain't going to fight. They ain't going to win, so the horde just, swamps him, eats the two dogs. And, of course, it's kind of weird. Nick is there smiling. I'm not honestly sure if he's trying to say that he's happy the dogs are being eaten, like, hey, look at that Cujo, you're freaking dead, or he's just happy to see something being ripped apart and killed. I don't know. It was kind of an odd thing to see, that he was just getting enjoyment from dismemberment, basically.
I really think the whole dog thing, I think he was smiling because, kind of sweet revenge. The dogs bit him in the leg. His leg is hurting pretty bad, and all of a sudden, boom, the walkers eat him. I think he thought that it was like sweet revenge or something. I don't know. Maybe that's why he was smiling.
Maybe it's like karma. But at least he has a good idea. I mean, once he figures out that, strength in numbers, he actually goes and starts walking with them, gets more camouflage on, and tries to stop the bleeding with a belt that he finds on another dead, little crippled zombie. But it didn't really work. I mean, of course it's going to somewhat work, but not really that well.
Stop the bleeding. At least it didn't bleed to death or anything like that. Down this road, we do see that the Tijuana sign now says 40 miles. So altogether, in this episode, Nick has walked 60 miles, at least, because, he had a few detours and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden we see these other three people, just kind of with some binocular. The girl, her name ends up being Lucinda. And her little buddies, with a thing of binoculars, like a pair of binoculars, looking, and they notice that Nick is, they notice that Nick's, a good guy. He's not a zombie.
They were going to actually kill him, but they decided to, I guess, honestly, help him. I mean, in the long run, more or less. I think she was going to leave him there to die, but once they find him again later, because he's somehow the rains come in and save Nick's life. So I guess they find him in another little, I guess a clinic, or maybe like a Walgreens, I guess. I don't know. Somewhere had a whole bunch of medicine, and they decide to kind of help him from there, try to get him to their little society. I mean, I still think maybe that group, the three little guys that was in the Jeep, maybe they were part of that original society, or maybe they were just some random, people. But they were honestly, if you look at them, they have some pretty high-tech gear on them. They have the whole camouflage and some high-tech weaponry. So I guess it'd be pretty easy at this point to just pick up some of that tech from some dead military men or something like that. But at that point, this episode was kind of slow. It wasn't really the best episode, but it did help and explain how Nick was able to more or less be conditioned for this world.
I mean, we see, different flashbacks in this episode of Nick and his backstory back in the U.S. We see, from the very first episode of Fear the Walking Dead, whenever we find Nick and he's in the church and he finds his girlfriend, whom he actually met in drug rehab, which we see that in this episode. We see how that played out. We see that his dad was actually killed in a head-on collision. The day, I guess, that they're going to meet up with their parents and get taken out of drug rehab. I'm not entirely sure. We haven't, with the whole drug system, all that kind of stuff, we don't know how that came about. But apparently he was getting ready to leave, and then that's when his mom told him that his dad had got killed in a head-on collision, all while he's in drug rehab. So, a little bit of backstory of Nick on this episode. It was all right. Not my favorite episode, but then again, we're really used to that whole Walking Dead and just boom, 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 zombie, 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 kill, 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 all that, really hyped up. And I think Fear the Walking Dead has really taken us through more of the story of these back people. And, it's a little bit slower because, again, we started with the very first outbreak on this, not, mid-outbreak or at the end of the outbreak where everything's just, went to shit in the world. So
no, I understand that. I really do. But I would like sometimes for them to forego a few of those building components. But if you don't, people's going to complain that you are ignoring that. So, honestly, guys, just to let you know that we are going to be doing this for quite a few different shows, like Flash, Supergirl, all kinds of stuff. So, if you guys don't mind, just hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your comments. I definitely read them, and we will catch you guys next time.